Markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. T&Cs apply.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
3 feet, McIlroy walks up to the ball for history. Rory back and through, and he's made it! He's done it! It's a Grand Slam roar at Augusta National! Rory McIlroy on his knees, bent down in emotion, clutching his head. He's won the Masters. He's won all the Grand Slam events. He's the 6th in the history of the game to enter golf's greatest group.
It's the Adam Gold Show. How is everybody? I'm Adam Gold. That is Victoria.
I'm back.
Back on her trek. I expected you to have like a Daniel Boone coonskin cap.
Oh, yeah. Almost through them West Virginia mountains.
Exactly. You got to go through West Virginia a little bit, don't you?
A lot of it. Yep.
Oh, a lot of it.
Yeah. It feels like, for such a small state, it feels like it takes forever to get through.
My image is that it's rugged terrain through West Virginia.
Very hilly.
Yeah, I guess you do have to go through it because you go up through the Western Virginia into West Virginia, through Pennsylvania and into Ohio.
No, don't have to go through.
You don't touch Pennsylvania?
Mm-mm. Ohio, then Indiana, then Illinois.
Indiana's flat, isn't it?
Very flat.
Yep.
See for miles.
Yeah, you can.
Where are the trees? There are none.
They cut them all down in Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, I trust you. Did you watch the entire final round of the Masters?
No, I did not.
You
but
did
I
not.
did watch the Canes going through West Virginia, so there was that. Thanks for the signal not breaking.
That's not bad.
Even through the tunnels. I know.
Wow.
I know.
Very, very nice. Shouts to the
5G.
the FanDuel Sports app. Right? You watched it on the FanDuel Sports app?
I did.
Look at that. Well,
Right?
good for you.
Right?
Man, we are going to talk about the Canes. We actually might spend a couple of minutes real quick starting off with them before we get to Rory because, yes, that was interesting yesterday. They should not have scheduled the final round of the Masters while the Hurricanes were playing.
No.
Or actually, maybe they should have.
Well, yeah.
Whew, that was
Not great.
something else to watch, to try to pay attention to a Hurricanes game, but at the same time, like what's going on here, because it was an absolutely nutty final round. Trey Wingo is going to join us in less than 10 minutes, and we'll talk about the final round of the Masters with him. And I have a billion thoughts running through my head based on what I saw yesterday. But let's start with hockey. Final home game of the regular season for the Hurricanes. They lost 4-1 to the Leafs. And here is the game for me in a nutshell. Domination in the first period. Carolina probably should have had, well, at least a goal, but maybe 2 or 3. And got none. And then gave up a goal right before the end of the frame. Here's Jordan Stahl.
Obviously, it was a great first, and we were playing what we wanted to play. And I think after that, we kind of just expected that to keep going, and we kind of got a little complacent. And they obviously started playing a little better in the second, and I made their push, and then we had 2 quick ones and we were down and chasing the game, and my line gave up a bad one in the third to get any momentum, and now down 3 in the third stuff.
Look, it's not like yesterday was a make or break game for anything. We went in saying there's some important things on the line. They needed points. If you want to stay ahead of Toronto or rather Tampa and Florida, you need to get a couple of points. They'll have to get those points if it really matters. And I'm not 100% sure it matters, but if you want to stay ahead of Florida and Tampa in the off chance you meet them in a Eastern Conference final, yeah, you're going to have to get some points out of these two games in Canada. But in the grand scheme of things, Carolina played a great first period, trailed 1-0, which happens. And then Toronto played a great second period and won that period 1-0. You could argue that Toronto should have scored more than the one goal, but didn't. It's 2-0 going to the third. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And Carolina, in many ways, played like it. They were just, all right, we're done. We're good. And I get it. 2 games left. Wednesday in Montreal, Thursday in Ottawa. And I am curious, and I know Rod Brindamore addressed it after the game, because I would be dressing out as many minor leaguers as I could. Does Rod anticipate it looking like the Chicago Wolves?
It just depends. I mean, we got some nicked up guys, to be quite honest. So we'll see how many, make it through here, and then you make that determination, and we'll figure it all out. But yeah, that's where we'll get them from if we need them.
All right, we'll get into a little bit of a deeper meaning regarding the games in Montreal and Ottawa coming up in a little bit. There is some meaning for individual players, including Pyotr Kochetkov, who's going to play the game in Montreal and really has to play well. All right, Trey Wingo's just going to join us in about 4 minutes. So let me just start with the fact that Rory McIlroy won the Masters, and I think you all know that. It had been 11 years and 38 major championships since Rory last won a major. At the 2014 PGA at Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky. He won the previous major to that, the Open Championship at Royal Liverpool. He won the 2012 PGA at Kiowa Island. He won the 2011 U.S. Open at Congressional in Potomac, Maryland. It had been 14 years since Rory took a 4-shot lead into the final round of the 2011 Masters. He was not a major champion at that point. And he completely melted down. He shot a final round 80. I think he shot 43 on the back nine. And it's been 11 years since he started being able to win the career Grand Slam. So he has been carrying that around for a long time.
I've carried that burden since August 2014. It's been 11 years. It's nearly 11 years. I'm not just about winning my next major, but the career Grand Slam, trying to join a group of 5 players to do it. Watching a lot of my peers get green jackets in the process. It's been difficult, and I've tried to approach this tournament with the most positive attitude each and every time that I've shown up. And I think just the sort of cumulative experience that I've gained coming back here each and every year, I feel like I get a little more comfortable with the shots needed. I talked about it at the start of the week, but there's talking about it and actually doing it. And yeah, today was difficult. I was unbelievably nervous this morning. It was a heavy weight to carry, and thankfully now I don't have to carry it, and it frees me up. And I know I'm coming back here every year, which is lovely.
It frees me up. I'm going to write that down, because I've been saying this to friends for a while. I probably said it here on the radio. That at his best, he is the best. This is not to say that other players aren't also amazing. But at his best, Rory McIlroy has more ways to beat you than anybody else. And once he got this one, Now, it didn't necessarily specifically have to be the Masters. Heck, it could have been at the U.S. Open last year at Pinehurst, which he should have closed the deal on. But once he got that one, does he free up his mind? Because his mind was what was holding him back yesterday.
Look, you have to be.
And once he frees it up, now do we see a second act? And I've used this analogy like Andre Agassi's second act in tennis. When he came back and became one of the top, he and Sampras were the two best players in the world for about 4 years. Does Rory, who's been basically the best player in golf cumulatively over the last decade and a half, does Rory now take that next step and start running off majors like Brooks Koepka ran off majors? I know a gentleman who has an opinion on that, Trey Wingo, who you can see everywhere. He does golf for Peacock during the Open. My gosh, Trey Wingo, how are you? 33rd team. You are in more places than there are rest stops on the New Jersey Turnpike. How you doing?
Adam, always good to be with you, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Your thoughts on what this might unlock from Rory? Then we'll get back to the roller coaster ride that was yesterday.
Yeah, and I think what you just said was really significant because a good friend of mine who I worked with at ESPN, and he now has his own golf company, and he's done a great job with it. His name is Justin Ray.
Yeah.
We talk all the time. Justin is just the absolute best at this. He summed it up perfectly. He said, in the end, the battle was always Rory versus himself. And that's how this had to end one way or the other. And I think that's what we saw Sunday. I mean, had the lead, double bogey for the first hole, and was up by 4 on the back, and then somehow got into a playoff. The battle was never Rory against the other golfers. It was Rory against his inner demon. And I do think, to your point, this frees him up to maybe go on another run like he had 2011 to 2014, where he won his 4 majors in that 3-year span. He's only 35.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that is remarkable about this. He had gone 10 years without winning a major. He's not even 36. Right? So, in any sort of normal professional golfer career, he is now officially really entering his prime. And I think that we have yet to see the best of Rory McIlroy.
Oh, I agree. I think he's a better player now than he was when he won his first 4 majors. Trey Wingo is joining us, 33rd team. Alternate routes where certain little things change during the course of a decision here or there. Like, had Rory won the Open Championship 2.5 summers ago at the Old Course, would we might he have already won a Masters? Let me go to yesterday because you talked about how he was battling himself, and I thought yesterday was a microcosm of the last 3-4 years of McIlroy's career, where we know how good he is, and he played incredibly well in tons of other tournaments, but just couldn't get over the hump in these tournaments, the ones that really matter, that make your legacy. And I thought there was so much resiliency within the round because, I mean, he hit 2 of the worst shots that you've ever seen a pro hit. Very relatable to those of us who play on weekends. On 13 and 18, 2 of the worst shots you've ever seen, but he basically followed them up with some of the best shots you've ever seen. Talk to me about the resiliency you saw yesterday.
Yeah, and it wasn't just – it was the resiliency of trying to win this tournament, but it was also the resiliency of going through the scarring of the 2022 Open at St. Andrews, of the 2023 U.S. Open at LA Country Club, of the 2024 U.S. Open at Pinehurst. And the thing that concerned me, even, like the shots he made 3 of the greatest shots I think I've ever seen in my life in a major championship, including that majestic 7-iron on 15 where he pulled his drive a little too far left, and he had to go under a tree and bend it around and make sure it covered the water in front of the green. It was one of the most remarkable shots that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
However, he had a 7-footer or 6-footer for eagle, and he missed the putt.
Yes.
Okay. And then he goes to 16, has another birdie attempt, and he misses the putt. He hit it so close on 17, which is another unbelievable shot. No one's going to miss that putt. But then on 18, like you said, he jumps in. But by the way, those two shots were both with a wedge.
Yeah.
Like he was 86 yards away. I think he made a mistake on 13 by backing off and trying to play conservative. You know, he'd been ripping these unbelievable shots through the pines like he did on 7 and all these other 5, and and then he just sort of got conservative. And I think if he had just played, he was 239 out and laid up. The last 2 days, he took it was 247 and hit a 4-iron onto the green in 13. So I thought that was the mistake there, and then he put him in that awkward spot. But like the only thing that concerns me about Rory going forward is the putter, and it has been a problem for him. You know, I can't remember the exact numbers, but at the Open, at the Old Course in 2022, he had a bogey-free round. He had a 3-putt loss, and he with a lead, and he lost the tournament because he couldn't make putts. He couldn't make any putts. That was the same thing that happened at the LA Open in 2023 U.S. Open there, and obviously we saw what happened at Pinehurst. His miss on 16 at Pinehurst last year was the first miss for him all year inside 3 feet. Yeah. And then he does it again on 18. So, last year at the U.S. Open. And then, of course, he misses the 6-footer that would have won the championship, which sends us to the sudden death playoff. So if there's one thing I'm going to be concerned about with Rory going forward is can he get better at making these putts? The Tiger would just will into the cup all the time. And I go back to Justin Ray one more time when talking about just the dynamics of the roller coaster of the round. He texted me during the round and said, this is what made Tiger so great. These collapses would never happen. Right. He was so mentally tough. He wouldn't let these things happen. And I think that now that he's done it again, I think Rory has the ability to do that as well.
Trey Wingo is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. A couple more minutes with Trey. If this frees him up, and I was listening to Brad Faxon yesterday on Live From, and Faxon said when Rory gets nervous, right, he pulls, and almost every one of these putts was short, which shows you the tension, and he lost his swing plane on his putter. So if those putts, which had been going in on Friday and Saturday, and actually on Thursday too, until he chipped it into the water on 15 and then made a mess of 17. If those putts start going in with the regularity that they had been, then we could be looking at a renaissance. You talk about winning a bunch of majors again. Tom Watson never won a major after 33. Arnold Palmer stopped winning majors, but the thing is, Phil Mickelson didn't start winning majors until his mid-30s, and then he finished with 6, right? This could be that second act of Rory, because I do think that he's probably a better player now than he was at any point, even when he was winning all those majors. Let me ask you your opinion of this. I've never seen a media, traveling media, a national, I can't even, like, everybody wanted Rory to win almost as much as Rory wanted to win. How much did that add to the burden that he's carrying around? Because it almost seemed like he was doing this for everybody else too, even though in his own brain he wasn't. But it just felt everybody wanted him to win.
Yeah, and there's two things I want to get to there. First of all, we can't ignore what Justin Rose did.
Oh, no way. Of course not.
Justin Rose made 10 birdies. 10 birdies on the Sunday of the Masters when he was in contention and didn't win. That's an impossibility. That's impossible. You had 10 birdies and you were within a few strokes of the lead to start the day, and you didn't win. So kudos to Justin Rose. I want to get that out of the way. But to your point, Rory was the story. And when he got to the Butler cabin, the first thing he said is, I can't wait to hear what you're going to ask me about next year, Jim, because you can't ask me about trying to get the Grand Slam for the 11th time, So, yeah, there was this collective. He was very aware of it. And just to put that in perspective, he's only the sixth man to win all 4 majors in golf. Every other one of those guys took them no more than 3 tries to get the Grand Slam. In fact, Tiger and Sarazen and a couple of people did it in their first attempt, okay? And 3 of them did it in their first attempt. 2 of them did it on their 3rd try. This was his 11th attempt to try and complete the career Grand Slam. 11. Now, that's 8 more than anybody else. So to your point, yes, everybody was in on this, and he knew everybody was in on this. And I did think that added to this. There's no question about it. And this is the most unconventional. I mean, he started with a double bogey. He had 4 doubles on the week.
Yeah.
There has never been a Masters champion with 4 doubles. There's never been a Masters champion that carded 2 sevens, and he carded 2 sevens.
Yep.
It was the Rory coaster was unbelievable. To me, this is on a Mount Rushmore of Masters.
Yeah.
Now, everyone has their own list, but to me, the list is Jack in '86, Tiger's first Masters in '97, where he started the front 9 with a 40. Came home in 30. Was 2 strokes behind John Houston, and then just blew the field away in his first major first Masters and first major as a professional, and he set the record at that time and was the youngest. So that one's way up there for me because that was the coming out party. Then 2019, obviously, Tiger's come back after all those years, having not won since the 2008 U.S. Open, and then this week, that would be my 4. And some people would say, Faldo's come back against Norman. Yeah, maybe, but to me, the magnitude of trying to win the career Grand Slam and what was at stake, and the fact that Rory wasn't at his best when Faldo was flawless in that thing and Norman fell apart.
Yeah,
Rory fell apart 3 times and came back 3 times.
It's unbelievable. It was
he had it, he lost it. He had it. He lost it. He had it. He lost it. Finally, he got it.
I mean, it brought to mind that scene in Airplane where they're talking about the plane. It keeps dropping altitude and going up and dropping down. And then I'm not going to say what the line is after that. But I think people watching Rory McIlroy at that point, like on the back 9, were like, "Make up your mind, man. What are we going to do? Are we going to win this or are we going to give it away?" But I do think that it was a microcosm of really the last several years and all the major championship scar tissue that he built up. It enabled him to get through it because you can't hit the shots that Rory hit. Oh my God, no. I mean, you just can't hit those shots. The putting, I think, will be fine. You just can't come through and hit those types of shots under the gun if there's not some like otherworldly ability to it. I agree. I think this was one of the greatest. I think it's one of the greatest majors, not even one of the greatest Masters. Yeah. Because the expectation going in, when Tom Watson, Jack Nicklaus, and Gary Player all sit up there at Butler Cabin or at the media center on Thursday and say, "Yeah, Rory's our pick," that just adds more to it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. And again, just forget the recent struggles we talked about. Just to put it in perspective, since he won the PGA at Valhalla in 2014, from 2015 through last season, a span of 10 seasons, Rory had 21 top 10 finishes in majors. That is the most over a 10-year span in golf history without winning one of them. So it wasn't just the recent ones we've talked about. He had put himself in that position so many times, including a couple of years ago, 2022 at the Masters. So it wasn't just right. There was so much scar tissue, like 21 top 10 finishes in majors over a 10-year frame, and not winning one of them. That had never happened before in the history of this illustrious game. So that's the weight that he was carrying around. And for him to miss the putt on 18, I thought when I went to a playoff, this could be reminiscent of Stuart Sink and Tom Watson at the Open at Turnberry in 2009, where once it went to a playoff, you knew Tom had no chance.
Yeah.
But to rip the same drive and then stuff that wedge play it up. And by the way, really getting golf nerdy here, that's the difference that Rory, who's the best driver of the golf ball in the world.
Yep.
Everyone talks about Bryson. Bryson was routinely behind Rory almost all day Sunday. But the difference in Rory's shot on 18 in the playoff hole as Justin Rose is the difference between an 8-iron and a pitching wedge. Okay, that 8-iron is not going to get as much spin as Rory's wedge, and that's why Justin's ball stayed up there. Meanwhile, he had a little spin on that thing because he was able to get 30 yards closer and put a wedge in his hand. He was able to execute the shot that would come back from that top shelf on the green, where the 8-iron was going to go forward. And that's the advantage that Rory has all the time.
It's just amazing. He turned the 18th hole, 465 yards into driver gap wedge. Twice. Hit the two greatest drives maybe ever hit on that hole. Trey Wingo, 33rd team, alternate round podcast on Wondery. He is everywhere. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the islands, and we will talk to you soon.
You got it, Adam. Always a pleasure.
You got it. Trey Wingo here on the Adam Gold Show. So that was real quick. So I saw Trey comment during the final round on Twitter, and so I just commented back to him. And then I wanted to send him a quick note privately, so I just sent him a text. And honestly, wasn't trying to get him to come on. He's like, "Do you want to talk?" I'm in Maui, but I get up early. That's what this did. That's what yesterday it was. It took the Masters, it took the sport of golf to a different place. Not that a Scotty Scheffler winning the Masters is a golf event, is a golf triumph. This took it to a different level. Rory, there's two players who, and I said this on Saturday night. Golf was the big winner yesterday, at least heading into the game, into the round, because the two most popular players in the world are Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau for different reasons. Rory is the biggest draw in competitive professional golf. And DeChambeau, who is also a huge draw in that regard, is the social media dominant force, maybe in sports. And you had those two things converging. It's unfortunate that Bryson didn't play well, because it would have been even better, no offense to Justin Rose who did, it would have been even better had Bryson and Rory staged that duel, especially based on what happened at Pinehurst last summer. All right, I got more on this later. We're going to take a break. Brian Geisinger is going to join us. The Triangle looks to be a pretty popular place to exit the transfer portal. We got stuff to talk about with BG next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
NC State basketball got their guy, Will Wade. He was number 1A on their wish list. He's coming off a win with McNeese State in the NCAA tournament, and all of that is nice, the sizzle, the buzz, it's great, but so much of it is still going to come down to the same thing. Does he have the NIL money to get the players on campus?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
You've been to all those fancy driving range experiences, but you need closer to the real thing. Adam Gold here. What you need is X Golf in Cary. High-end simulator play. Food, drinks, fun, maybe even a date night, even serious competition. Buddy of mine plays in a league there, and he loves it. Memberships are available. All levels of player, all ages. North Carolina's premier indoor golf experience, and there is a PGA professional on site. Online. PlayXGolf.com/Cary. PlayXGolf.com/Cary.
Cars.
cool people, good time. America's favorite car show is back. The Good Guys 10th Griots Garage North Carolina Nationals presented by Trimming. This Friday and Saturday at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh. Cruise on out and see over 1,500 of the Southeast's finest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Autocross racing, a Saturday night demolition derby, vendor midway, live entertainment, and more. This Friday and Saturday at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. Details at good-guys.com.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
So, you found the one and want to get married? Next step, you need the ring. And not just any ring, the perfect engagement sparkle that exemplifies your love. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is here to help. Our diamond experts, wide selection of high-quality diamonds, and financing make saying I do easy. We guarantee you'll love the ring or your money back. You're invited to see why Bailey's has been voted best place to buy your diamonds. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to find out more.
One Adam. Gold. One Adam. Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a comment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. But yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
You know, random people come up to Mike and hug him now because of that?
Oh, no. I guess he's not wearing a free hug shirt.
You'll be hearing from his lawyers.
Okay.
Saying.
Well, it's all right.
It's the Adam Gold Show. That's Victoria. Back from her excursion to Chicago.
Oh, woof. Yeah.
Did you see anything there other than a wedding and the highway?
No, not really. I mean, I watched a lot of sports on my phone.
There you go. That's very relatable as well.
One of the days we went around and did antique shopping. So, yeah, I did have a day, I guess, of that stuff. But.
Incredibly relatable. All right, while you were gone, it seems like everybody wants to play college basketball in the Triangle now, and that's a good thing. Brian Geisinger, our guy, Pack Pride, 24/7 Sports. He's everywhere. Split the action on Substack. So NC State's been busy. I think at least 3, maybe a 4th. If it's not official yet, it probably will be soon. Have come out of the portal to join the Wolfpack. Let's start with the point guard from Michigan State, Trey Holloway, who is a really good player. Look, the Spartans ended up in the Elite Eight before losing to Auburn. How dynamic is he I would imagine he's going to be a day one starter for Will Wade.
Yeah, a lot of experience. I mean, already over 100 career games, a lot of playing time in a good program, in a good conference in the Big Ten. And, it was sort of, I think, kind of interestingly this season at Michigan State, part of like a really talented kind of collective backcourt with Jeremy Fears, Jaden Akins, and then obviously Jace Richardson, who's projected to be a lottery pick in the draft here. So I think Richardson was certainly the biggest driver of scoring offense in the backcourt, and after that was probably Fears. But Holloman fit nicely in, and I think right now on paper, State is set up to have a lot of other, talented backcourt, talented guards in the backcourt. So having a guy like Holloman that gives you some shooting, gives you some pull-up shooting, can run a pick and roll, lots of paint assists, and sort of like working within a collective is a really nice pickup. So it's been a busy offseason, obviously, for the Pack, and Holloman, I think, is I would sort of like stop short of like I wouldn't say like a future star for the Pack, but certainly like at the least a rotation piece and likely a starter and a guy that plays a lot of big leverage minutes for them next season.
All right, the two guys that the Wolfpack brought from McNeese State to join their former head coach, now they're still head coach, Kadir Copeland, Alan Breed. How do these guys fit in? And then we'll talk about we'll do one bit on a returner with Paul McNeil coming back. But what can you tell us about Kadir Copeland and Alan Breed?
Yeah, starting with Breed, I think just another guy that gets a lot of steals. Unfortunately didn't get to play much at McNeese State last season before suffering a season-ending injury in November, but played a lot previously at Providence, so an older guard with lots of experience, creates steals. We probably talked about that with regards to Wade defense, and gives them another guy, kind of like Holloman, that can, score off the pick and roll, score out isolation, some of the, shot making, kind of off the dribble components. And then Copeland, I mean, I'm sure plenty of people here, remember him from his time at Syracuse a couple of years ago.
Right.
But super creative player, kind of weird, like 6'6" point guard that doesn't really shoot. But he's sees the floor incredibly well, can really leverage his size and strength to score and to pass. Very good open floor playmaker. I've gone back and watched a fair amount of, McNeese State film from this season, and he's someone that certainly, stood out as kind of like the most important piece of their transition offense, and the guy that they still found ways to make a pretty important engine of their half-court offense, too. So Copeland's the guy that I think, not a great shooter up to this point of his career, but creates a lot of turnovers, can rebound for a guard, and is sort of just like a fire starter in transition. Plus, given how much, Will Wade's going to want to switch 1 through 5, it's important to have guys like Copeland that are, 6'6" and long and, active hands at the guard positions that can slide around and guard different positions. So makes a lot of sense. And certainly someone that can, I think, kind of get any team he's on going, just with his ability to hit ahead and pass, kind of, in a way, kind of like what Michael O'Connell did for State the last couple of years, like that kind of passing. But I think Copeland more explosive as a downhill driver in the half court too, with more size, so that sort of makes him, kind of like a bigger weapon in the half court.
Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports, and, of course, Split the Action on Substack, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. He is a basketball brain. So Paul McNeil, he announced he was staying. Trey Parker, you can understand, it's kind of redundancy at that position. Trey Parker is going to move on, even though I think one of the best performances, if not the best performance I saw all year, was Trey Parker at Cameron Indoor Stadium against Duke. How does Paul McNeil fit? Is he going to be the featured piece in the backcourt? Is he just one of many options?
I think he's going to be one of many, just because if you watching McNeese, it sort of was a collection of guys that really kind of shared the ball from a playmaking standpoint. But of course, if you go back to Will Wade at LSU, you're seeing teams with Javonte Smart and Cam Thomas, where they were maybe not quite heliocentric, but a little bit more on the ball. I think a guy like McNeil kind of fits in different ways. One, because he's such a talent. So so there is this like upside, component. But a lot of the guys we just talked about, Copeland, Breed, Holloman, these are guys that I think can play on and off the ball too. But just when I close my eyes and think about how they play, a lot of it is them on the ball. And so to have a guy like McNeil that can run around screens, that can spot up and relocate, like you need some shooting to kind of make all of this actually kind of like meld together. And McNeil's a guy with big time range. I wrote a big piece, published it over the weekend at my Substack page on McNeil.
Yep.
There's a lot of intriguing stuff, like sneaky good offensive rebounder, pretty good connective passer, and one of those guys where you can't draw too many conclusions because he played, basically 200 minutes this past season, so not much, but just he was a real impact, like from an on-off plus-minus standpoint, with not only with State's, overall point differential, but in terms of how much better guys, pretty much everyone outside of Jaden Taylor was more efficient offensively with McNeil on the court. Again, with small samples here, so you can't put too much into it. But I think that does speak to the connective playmaking and the shooting that McNeil brings. And I'm just hoping with a larger runway to work with and a little bit more confidence that McNeil's the guy that could maybe go up a level or two for State next season.
Brian Geisinger is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, one more thing, and this pertains to State. I think most people believe that Mackenzie Mbako is going to be here. I don't know if I said his last name right. And I was trying to remember, where do I recognize that name? And then he was supposed to go to Duke, but when Kyle Filipowski came back, he decided to leave. He went or decommit. He ended up at Indiana, and now he is back in the portal. And I think NC State are the favorites if it's not official. Power forward who can step outside. This much I know. What else can you tell us about him? And do you think ultimately his destination will be Raleigh?
Yeah, I mean, it was real late. If you remember, 2 years ago, it was real late in the process when he decommitted too. Like he played at the Hoop Summit in Portland that year in 2023, I believe, still as like a Duke commit.
Yeah,
if memory serves me correctly. And then when Flip and Mark Mitchell said they were coming back, and there were maybe a few other things at play, but he ultimately ends up at IU, and I think was like good, but maybe not quite maybe fell a little sort of short of where you would expect a 5-star kind of billing to be. And I think that's kind of a guy that makes a lot of sense for Will Wade to kind of try to like tap into that upside and try to get some stuff out of it. I think if you go back and look at some of the players that Will Wade has had at both LSU and McNeese State, Tari Eason, Brandon Murray, some of these sort of like hybrid forward wings that give you a lot of positional versatility, can really move around the floor, guard different positions, do a lot of different things, and just sort of like give you different kinds of lineup flexibility with their, again, switch everything, can work into the press, athletes, and guys that you could play at the 3, play at the 4, so go small, go big, like do different things. And I think a guy like Mbako is someone that certainly like fits nicely into that archetype.
All right, I want to go through a couple of these Carolina guys quickly. And then I want to ask you about 2 other players who are, at least there's rumors about. We saw Henry Visar from Arizona, who I think still has 2 more years of eligibility left. He's coming to Carolina. I mean, that guy was super impressive in the game against Duke. 7'2", seems to have a decent level of athleticism, touch, can shoot free throws. The guy is obviously a great player. But let me ask you about Kian Evans from Colorado State, a guard. How does he fit into what Carolina wants to do?
Yeah, I like Evans a lot. I mean, first off, like I think Hubert Davis and his staff have done a nice job in the portal. But to get a guy that has the shooting ability of Evans, I think is a real big one. And there's a lot of data at this point that suggests that Evans is, probably one of the better shooters in the country last season, was certainly one of the better shooters, if not maybe the best shooter, in the Mountain West Conference last season. But the 3-point shooting ability off the catch, off the dribble, thinking about all the ways they featured RJ Davis under Hubert the last 4 years. I mean, I feel like Evans is sort of like plug and play in that regard. Decent size at the guard position too. You mentioned Vasar. I think Vasar's a pro. I think he's actually someone that like probably should be testing the draft waters. But 7-footer that moves like that. He over the course of the season started to shoot the ball a little bit, like has some stretch potential too. So to have a guy like that you can pair up in the pick and roll with Evans, and he's a guy that can roll, he can slip, he can pop. I wouldn't say he's quite a hub, but you can definitely like throw it to him and in the middle of the floor with different 5 outlooks or playing to the elbow. So I just think that as like a pick and roll, pick and pop battery at the 1 and 5 is like kind of excellent, and you can just kind of piece things in, And I also think a guy like Vasar and Evans really help with the fit of someone like Seth Trimble, right? You and I talked about Trimble a lot. Hopefully he goes up a level as a catch and shoot 3-point guy this offseason. But having shooters, especially in that front court position with Vasar, and he's not like at this point he's not like a high volume stretch 5, but can give you some of that. He'll probably dabble with that even more next season. But someone who could also open the floor, and so you can just envision pick and pop with Evans and Vasar and Trimble's cutting on the weak side, and just how all the things that can open up for you can open up in the half court. So I've really liked what UNC has done so far, and honestly, bringing Jaron Stevenson back home to Orange County.
Yeah, that's right.
Seems like a no-brainer, but kind of what we were just talking about with Mbacco at potentially at State, but just a versatile, multi-positional guy. Could play the 3 and the 4 at Alabama at 6'11", has flirted with the 3, rangy, can just do a lot of stuff. So kind of a lot of untapped potential, I would say, with Stevenson, who just kind of got buried in a very deep front court this season at Alabama.
All right, final thing. I got about 60 seconds for Brian Geisinger. We'll just go to Xavier Lee, the guard from Princeton, who might be the most sought after. I don't know if he's the most sought after player in the transfer portal now. What do you like about him?
A lot. I mean, really, really creative with the basketball. Can really, really, really pass the ball too. Sort of like all court, vision, playmaking. Has the off dribble shooting and creation. To punish teams, can attack different kinds of coverages. If he's seeing drop, he's got the pull-up shooting ability. I think as far as like Lee and Duke go potentially as a pairing, I think it makes a lot of sense. It just kind of depends on who hypothetically is coming. Not hypothetically, the hypothetical fit of Lee and Duke really is going to depend on who's coming back for the Blue Devils potentially at those guard positions. So. I think, but he makes a lot of sense, like as a guy that both parties, would be interested in a potential hookup. I mean,
he looks like a dynamite player. It only begs the question, why was he at Princeton? Not that Princeton doesn't have good basketball players. Brian Geisinger, 24/7 Sports, split the action on Substack. All right, sir, there'll be more. I'll talk to you very soon.
Yep, sounds good.
Brian Geisinger here on the Adam Gold Show. I totally forgot about Stevenson coming to Carolina as well. They have done both triangle schools, State and Carolina, have both been very, very busy. All right, when we come back, one-timers, questions and answers in that form. Next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the NBA play-in tournament is almost upon us, and FanDuel is giving all new customers a chance at $250 in bonus bets. Join today, place your first $5 wager. If that wins, $250 of their money belongs to you. Three-pointers, steals, assists, whatever. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS for the NBA play-in tournament. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare Savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Next hour, Brenden Whitted will join us to talk about the NBA playoffs, which the play-in tournament begins tomorrow. Tuesday, Wednesday, it'll be the 7-8 games on Tuesday, the 9-10 games on Wednesday, and then the losers from Tuesday and the winners from Wednesday will meet on Friday to figure out the rest of it, and the playoffs proper get underway on Saturday, and it should be an absolute blast. I think it'll be the best first round of the NBA playoffs we've ever had. Usually the first round of the playoffs is kind of boring. We all know who's going to win, except for the 4-5 series. Very few upsets. It's not like hockey. But I think the first round of the playoffs is going to be an absolute blast. All right, Q&A time.
All right, so Monday's edition. First up, about the Canes. What's the most important thing, in your opinion, for the Canes to do these last two games before the playoffs?
Stay healthy. We want to see Pyotr Kochetkov play a reasonably good game Wednesday night in Montreal. I don't believe we will see Frederick Anderson on Thursday in Ottawa, if for no other reason, just in case the playoffs start on Sunday. I don't think Rod wants to go right out of the gate. I think he would like Freddie to have a little rest. And I think Freddie needs it, to be honest.
Yeah.
We certainly haven't seen the same Frederick Anderson the last 3 starts. So I do think Freddie needs a little rest. So to me, I'd like to see as many minor leaguers as you can get into the lineup. Yes, Barry Kotkaniemi will play both games in Canada. I think Andrei Svechnikov has to play those games. Has to. Got to start establishing something. We have not established anything with Andrei. It's been very disappointing. I love his attitude, though. I spoke to him on Saturday. Absolutely love his attitude. I am rooting for him like crazy. I love the kid, but he just hasn't played well this year at all.
Yeah. Well, speaking of goalies, so how many games, because, Kochetkov, he's going through a little bit of a funk right now.
Yeah.
How many games can you see Freddie going before you feel like, yeah, he needs a break?
Well, I mean, if I were Rod, you're going to have to bite the bullet early in the series against the Devils. Now, the good thing is that Kochetkov has, I think, pretty good history against New Jersey. So maybe he'll see the Devils uniforms and go, "Oh, I'm good against them."
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you have to use Kochetkov in every series to keep Frederick Anderson good. So it might be a means to an end. It might not be, look, I'm not trying to win this game. Maybe we can win it in front of him. Maybe we can outscore him, which actually they were doing at the beginning of the season. So I wouldn't play Anderson more than twice in a row. I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't play him more than twice in a row. And I'm not even sure it's good to play him twice in a row.
That's probably all we have time for
today.
That's
all we have time for. Yeah, the Hurricanes have some things to deal with. It's not about how they play these two games. It's almost about who plays as much as anything else. We'll run it back next. You'll hear from Rory.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the play-in tournament in the NBA is upon us. Do or die for some of your favorite stars. And right now, all new customers can get a shot at $250 in bonus bets. All you have to do is win your first $5 wager. Pick an over-under for Steph Curry 3-pointers made and just take the over. That'll probably be good. Plus, you can bet live during the NBA playoffs. FanDuel's the greatest spot for that. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. The NBA playoff tournament action starts now. Let's get going. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 103.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brenden Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please. Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours. Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours. Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states. This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
McIlroy stands behind the ball, gets his alignment, and he's going to step in and look. He can see the green up there in the flagstick, and Justin Rosie's ball is right behind that, some 10 feet. Can Rory get inside of that? Poor wedge a moment ago. This wedge on the way, second shot, looks like a little sawed-off shot on the way towards the green. McIlroy's ball is deep. It'll catch the slope and start coming back. It's moving closer to Rose's ball. It gets inside of Rose's ball. It's going towards the hole. It's coming within 3 feet of the hole. What a shot! Place goes nuts!
It's insane. It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. That's Victoria. I'm so glad there was a Hurricanes game yesterday. I would have been a basket case. I would have been. Like all the things that I've been saying about all of the people who wanted Rory to win almost as much as Rory wanted to win, that is called projecting. Because that's where I was. And I thought of a number of things about Rory winning, including this. John Feinstein left us about a month ago, maybe less, maybe a few weeks ago. And I don't know what John's actual relationship was with Rory. But I do know that John Feinstein held McIlroy in such high regard that he actually inserted Rory into one of his golf books. And he did that with a lot of famous people, by the way. But he inserted Rory into one of his golf books and painted him as one of the great human beings that we have among, our athletes today. John loved everything about McIlroy. So I just thought of John because John and I, we had a very good relationship. We texted often, even when we weren't like, hey, do you want to come on and talk about your latest book? And in the 22 Open Championship, where Rory was tied for the lead by 4 with Victor Hovland, and they both didn't do anything, and Cameron Smith came from behind and won at St. Andrews, I texted John during the final round, and we just kind of were going back and forth watching Rory not win a major that he probably should have won. So I just thought of John yesterday because, and I'm, whether looking down from above is even a thing, if it is, he was. And I just thought about that as Rory was winning this Masters. It was everything you would want in a sporting event. I just don't even know, how did he deal with that? It was such a relatable round of golf. Anybody out there who plays, especially if you are a pretty good player, like if you're a high single-digit handicap or a low teens handicap, and you are capable of hitting great shots, and everybody is, but better players are more capable of hitting great shots. But at the same time, you can, chunk a ball into a pond that is right in front of you, which we've all done. Yesterday's final round, in fact, even just the back nine, although it happened earlier, yesterday's final round, you could have watched that and go, I could have done that. Because he provided those moments from you, for you as you were watching it. Everybody who plays has bombed a drive. And you get out there and you have a pitching wedge in your hand, and oh man, I'm in great shape. And you just lay the sod right over the ball and it goes 30 yards. Every one of us have done that. So while he didn't chunk it 30 yards, I mean, he had 125 yards, whatever it was, to a pretty big green on the final hole, needing only a par to win, and he just flared it right into the bunker. I'm like, that bunker shouldn't even be in play. He provided us with so many relatable moments, and then he had the ability to answer and get back off the mat. It was one of the most incredible athletic endeavors that I had ever seen out of the corner of my eye, because I was supposed to be paying attention to the Canes game, and I was paying attention to the Canes game. I'm glad that the action isn't constant in golf.
Yes.
And I was only concerned with one player.
Yeah.
So I only needed to know what Rory was doing.
You had gaps.
So I had gaps.
Yeah.
My gosh, what an absolute roller coaster. I said before that I was purposely going to leave Rory out of every ticket that I had on the golf tournament.
And it worked.
And it did work, because I wanted my euphoria to be organic.
Right.
I've never been this happy to lose, I think I went 1-7, 1-8. Now, I should have done much better. Thank you, Ludwig Oberg, for whatever you did on the 18th hole. Thank you, Shane Lowry, for completely falling apart on Sunday. Thank you, Xander Schauffele and John Rahm and Tommy Fleetwood and Akshay Bhatia for doing nothing that helped me. And I was okay with it. The loss was minimal. Thank you, Corey Connors, who just barely hung on into the top 10. And it was absolutely worth watching McIlroy win, who carried around the burden of the tour during the initial part of the LIV versus the PGA Tour separation. I don't know that it really affected his game, because he seemed to play well that year, but it certainly affected other aspects of his life. And it was, I'm sure, no fun dealing with and trying to be the voice of the tour. And then when they announced that agreement where he was completely blindsided about, he had to, basically put on a brave face and pretend that he was behind it. I'm not sure he really was.
Yeah.
I think he has kind of reverse engineered why he thinks the two tours need to be reunited. I don't disagree with Rory on a lot. I don't think they need to be. I don't think the PGA Tour needs to reunite with LIV Golf. I think LIV Golf needs it a lot more than the PGA Tour needs it. But either way, I mean, that's not even what we're but all of those things added up to just putting a lot of things on Rory McIlroy's plate that theoretically could get in the way of him doing his job. He managed to do it pretty well. Trey Wingo was on last hour, talked about all of these top 20, top 10 finishes he had in majors in between his most recent major and yesterday. And it's all true. But there were only a handful of majors where he really had a chance to win. So the top 10s, that's great. In some ways, he backdoored a lot of those top 10s. His second place finish in 22, Scottie Scheffler's first Masters. That was a final round like 64, out of nowhere, never really had a chance to win. One of his top 10s was, I think, in the Jordan Spieth Masters, where he really never had a chance to win. 2018, he was in the final group with Patrick Reed, shot 75. He had a chance to win. He didn't play well. So this was the first time since 2011 that he went to the final round and people went, "You're the guy, and if you don't win it, then it was a choke." And I know a lot of people thought that Rory McIlroy was choking yesterday. And in many respects, he was. But at the same time, he was fighting back constantly. It was the most... In golf, it is rare, at that level, it is rare to see what you saw from McIlroy, where you go from, gosh, that was one of the worst things I've ever seen, to, oh my gosh, how could he possibly pull that off? There's no way you do that. You either have it or you don't. You don't get both. Not in golf. You don't get both. Now, maybe you get both front nine, back nine, but you don't get what you saw in the back nine yesterday. You don't get, what the heck was that? And then, oh my gosh, that was amazing. You just don't get it. And it was just the most relatable thing I'd ever seen. He's the best player in the world. I don't care what the world rankings say. You keep playing like this, you'll eventually be number one in the world anyway. There's always a little bit of a lag time. And if his mind is free, the only thing that's been holding him back is his brain. That's it. For the last several years, and I know that if you watch Golf Channel a lot, they talk about a lot of technical things, and the technical things matter. He's won too many golf tournaments over the last several years to have not won majors. So, yes, he has made some technical things that have put him in a better place, but he was more than good enough to win those other majors, but it was between the ears that wasn't allowing him to do it. And there's no guarantee that he's fixed that problem. Heck, what we saw yesterday might just be the way he needs to win majors. I don't know. But he played a whole lot of great golf for 4 days. He fell apart on the last 4 holes on Thursday. Went 66, 66 Friday and Saturday. And then Sunday, hit enough good shots. Yeah, I know. He made double bogeys on 1 and 13. But he probably left 4 shots out on the golf course that, yeah, he probably could have been better. That he hit the ball, he played well enough, really, for like a 68, anywhere from 68 to 70. And he ended up shooting 73 because he was a total internal mess. But if that stuff goes away, we're about to see another. We're going to see a tear. And I remember 15 years ago saying, "There's your guy. There's your next guy." We're not looking for the next Tiger. I'm not saying there will never be another Tiger. Rory is not that. But you were looking for the next guy to carry the flag for the tour. I thought then it was going to be him. And then he went 11 years without winning a major. You can't do that. You can't be both. I think we're going to see another Rory era. I do.
I want to know what his karaoke song is now.
Oh, that'll be his next event, by the way. because he was supposed to play this week at Hilton Head, but he's obviously not playing because my guess is that Rory's got like 9 bottles of champagne to drink.
Yes.
So, but his next event will be in New Orleans with Shane Lowry playing that team event. And from there, it's Quail Hollow for the PGA. He's only won 4 times on that golf course.
That's all.
Only 4. No pressure. This is in many ways like when they brought the U.S. Open to Torrey Pines, where Tiger Woods had won, 5 times or 6 times or so before the 08 U.S. Open. So that's what the expectations for Rory McIlroy to win another major like next month are real. He'll be the favorite. And he might be an overwhelming favorite, to be honest. It sets up pretty well. The Open Championship is basically in his backyard at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland.
Can't hate that.
No. But man, it was almost like a boxing match. And again, I'm trying not to pay attention. Best part about it, I'll stop here because I was in the booth preparing for the pregame show yesterday. Rory teed off at 2:30. I got to the arena at 2:30. Did a couple of interviews downstairs, talked to William Carrier, talked to Rod Brindamore, then go upstairs. It's like 2:40, it's maybe 2:50 when I get upstairs. Rory's already teed off. I am avoiding it completely. I don't have the Masters tab up on my computer. I am not looking at social media because I know it's going to be all over the place. I walk into the booth, and the studio producer for the radio broadcasts, John Brockwell, says, "I've got the Masters on both TVs for you." And I'm like, no! I don't want that.
That's what you're
so
avoiding.
I just smiled. I just smiled. Thank you. And then I put headphones on and just got down to the business of preparing the pregame show.
Tunnel vision.
And I wasn't watching the TV above me to the right, and I wasn't turning around to talk to John. And if I was purposely not looking at the TV.
Yeah.
And I literally had no idea what was going on in the Masters until I accidentally looked up at the TV and I saw that McIlroy had a 3-shot lead. He was 12 under par, and I think Rose and DeChambeau were 9 under par. I don't even remember what hole it was. I looked up like, oh, it's not terrible. And that was the first mistake I made, because the rest of the day I was constantly looking around.
Oh yeah,
I completely lost it.
Yep.
It was like when if you go on a like for most people who diet, because I've done it. Like, you're good, man. I have 4 days. I am good. I haven't had anything bad. I've been doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
And then you take
Someone
one
gives you a
bite
Hershey
of
kiss.
something, and they're like, "No, I'm screwed.
You're ruined."
So.
You scratch the itch.
Yeah, and then from then on, I was paying attention. I did miss the catastrophe on 13, thankfully. I would have not been in any condition to do anything on the radio at that point. All right. That was my little Masters moment, but good for Rory. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable day yesterday. All right, we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs with Brenden Whitted. We have both of our basketball brains on today. And we have a bevy of basketball brains that we bring in to talk to you. But Brenden Whitted will talk NBA playoffs, play-in tournament, and how did Golden State end up here? Yeesh. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Do you ever go to the Carolina Hurricanes games and find yourself thinking, what do the players eat before the game? What are their pregame rituals? What kind of music gets them pumped up ahead of the game? How sacred is the game day nap? What's the postgame mood on the team plane? Check out my new podcast, Iced Tea, with me, Megan LaMontagne. I get to talk to people who spill the tea on the Carolina Hurricanes. Listen to Iced Tea in any podcast app or watch the show on the Fan YouTube channel.
Child abuse. It happens in all communities. Learning to spot the signs of abuse and knowing how to report it can save a child's life. Children's Advocacy Centers of North Carolina supports over 50 centers statewide, providing hope and healing to young victims of abuse, neglect, and trauma. Join us in the fight against child abuse. Visit cacnc.org to learn more. That's cacnc.org.
We're hiring. Start feeling rewarded today. Enjoy paid time off and tuition assistance. Work for McDonald's, and McDonald's can work for you. Apply at careers.mcdonalds.com today. McDonald's and its franchisees are equal opportunity employers committed to a diverse and inclusive workforce.
I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one patient per year who might not have access to proper oral health care. Join me in making a difference.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low fives, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain or just struggling with daily activities because of discomfort in your knees, back, or other parts of your body? Well, I've got great news. It's called DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, a solution that can help you get back to feeling like yourself again without the risks of invasive surgery or long-term prescription drug use. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness is a regenerative medicine clinic. Their innovative treatment options address the root cause of your pain to promote healing and prevent re-injury for long-lasting pain relief. If you have arthritis, joint pain, sports injuries, or other conditions, their highly trained medical providers will develop a cutting-edge treatment plan tailored just for you with little to no downtime. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness can get you back to doing the things you love. Call DaVita Med Spa and Wellness today, spelled DVIDA. Call 984-333-1313. 984-333-1313. 984-333-1313.
Oh, wow, honey, I love it. It's so beautiful and so sparkly.
Just like you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
I'll wear it every day. It goes with everything.
This Mother's Day, wow Mom with spirit-lifting, outfit-making, express your love jewelry. Shop jtv.com/mom for wow-worthy and budget-friendly styles.
I'm never taking it off.
Another wow factor? Sign up for JTV Text and get $30 off. If she loves jewelry, she'll love JTV.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Next hour, a two-time United States Open champion, Curtis Strange. We'll ask him about the nerves of Rory McIlroy, what he must have been going through, not only going to the first tee, but really all day long. I know how I felt. All right, let's get to the NBA play-in tournament, which begins tomorrow. Atlanta is at Orlando. Memphis is at Golden State. Brenden Whitted, our friend, one of our basketball brains, the other basketball brain, actually the old League Pass Lair. Brian Geisinger was on earlier, and we had your old buddy Alec Campbell on last week.
Dope!
To talk basketball.
I was just talking to AC, man. I was just hitting him up.
I think he must be home for some reason today because he's blowing my phone up too. All right, let's talk about this play-in tournament. First of all, it was so tight in the West. going into the last week, really the last 5 days, there were one game separating third, and then 4 teams tied for fourth, and then there was one game separating those 4 teams with the team that was in eighth. Yeah. And so we have Memphis at Golden State. It was very, very tight. How did Golden State end up back in this, even though Jimmy Butler had seemingly made them seem so, really threatening to win the title?
They're really good. They just were not good in the beginning of the season. And I feel like every Western Conference team kind of went through some sort of metamorphosis, whether it's the Lakers and their Trey, Kawhi coming back. That Clippers team, the Clippers and Golden State got after it last night, but that Clippers team is a completely different beast when Kawhi plays. They're 22-11, I think, when he plays. He's only played a handful of games this year, but when he does, that can happen. At any given moment, he can be the best player on the court. Any given moment. Put him against Denver, put him against Milwaukee, anybody. That guy, when he gets it going, it's just he's going to get to a spot. You know what he's going to do. Yeah. He's going to hit his catch and shoots. He's going to get to those elbow, that nail jumper, and he's going to just power through you a lot of times. And there's really very little you can do about it, because if you start doubling, hey, there's this other Hall of Famer on his team, James Harden, that will also cook you down deep. I love Zubac. I really like that Clippers team. I know this was a thing about Golden State, but I really like that Clippers team a lot. Golden State just waited too long. If they could have made that Butler trade earlier, and I don't know what that Butler saga was a mess. So I don't know if that was even on the deck of cards that they could have played. But if they could have, then they wouldn't be in this situation. But as you mentioned, the West they're chock full of talent, and somebody good was going to end up in this spot. And it happened to be the Warriors. It certainly isn't the Grizzlies, because for the life of me, I don't know what happened with their coach Jenkins. That's still baffling to me.
Well, we had two late season firings: Taylor Jenkins in Memphis and Michael Malone in Denver. The stuff I'm reading about was that the environment around the team was everybody was, I don't know, nobody was having any fun. I don't know. I'm sure the reporting is legit. So. Look, if you're not having a good time doing what you're doing,
I guess. I've read that stuff too. I've also heard that John Morant didn't like the offense. They were sixth, pretty much fifth, sixth, seventh, somewhere in there all year in terms of offensive efficiency. In the 9 games they haven't been, they're 11th. So I need something, because I really feel like people are talking to us like we're dumb. Because I'm like, hold on, bro. I've never seen this. I've never seen teams that were playoff bound this deep 9 games before the playoff starts. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? You're not going to win anything if you make that sort of monumental change right before. And I know you want to pacify your best players if we're not having fun. I bet if you won some more, you would have fun. I bet if that's kind of what we're here for, and they've been kind of middling. And I don't know, man. That's a weird spot to walk into. It still baffles me, because this Memphis team not too long ago, remember, they were the young guns that were supposed to be the next up in the West, and now they've been supplanted, are in a playing game, and you look up and who is it now? It's OKC. They've completely lost the plot there, and hopefully in this offseason, whenever their offseason begins, they can kind of correct shit, because I like a lot of the guys on that squad.
All right, so Memphis Golden State, the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken, took 3 out of 4 during the season from the Grizzlies, but I think only one of those was after they acquired Jimmy Butler. So my guess is we got to kick out those first 3 games, though the Warriors did win that game with Jimmy Butler, I believe. It's in San Francisco, so you obviously have to favor Golden State. Is it basically a foregone conclusion that they're going to take care of the Grizzlies tonight? The Grizzlies still have a lot of talent.
No, they've got a ton of talent. Jaren Jackson Jr. has had a phenomenal year, right? Desmond Bain, they have a lot of really good talent on the team. It's just when you start making decisions like that, it's hard for me to take you seriously. You're 4-5 in your last 9 games. You're not even a 500 team since you made that change at head coach, and it's hard for me to take you seriously. You add to that, I don't know if he's going to be able to take the Miami Magic with him, but it's playoff Jimmy time, right? This is his time. This is when he starts playing better. And he has meant so much to that team in terms of taking the pressure off of Steph. He hasn't shot the ball great, but it just in terms of what he can create in the pick and roll and as a secondary stuff, and in some non-Steph minutes where you really don't feel as uncomfortable about them generating offense. I'm a little frightened because they rely on the three-pointer so much. So in these play-in situations where you might only get a chance to play 1 or 2 games, I think Golden State is second in the league in terms of the percentage of their offense that is three-point makes.
Right.
So if you start talking about 1 or 2 games, I mean, you can just have a bad couple of games shooting and suddenly you just have nothing on offense. But I do think Golden State is ultimately going to get this and we'll get them in the playoffs.
Yeah, and if they win tonight, rather tomorrow, they would get the Rockets in the first round of the playoffs proper, which is probably not a bad spot. It's why you want to win tonight. You don't want to have to go and win either over Dallas or Sacramento in the other game. And, boy, are those two teams that screwed this up by staying in the play-in tournament? Didn't they want to not be in the playoffs?
like that is as much as the play-in was meant to not to like kind of knock out some of this late season nonsense. Right? It's still there. It's still ruminating in the air about like, oh, should we or shouldn't we? But keep this in mind as well when we talk about Golden State or any of these other play-in teams. We've had a couple play-in teams make it to Western Conference Finals. We had a playoff play-in team make it to the finals in Miami. So like it's not crazy that you can go on a run because hey, maybe a guy gets healthy or maybe you make a trade like they did with Golden State did with Butler. Like I'm not willing to count them out. And Houston plays some really good. They kind of remind me of who the Grizz used to be in terms of like the old gritty grind Grizz. Like, oh no, we're just going to take it into the muck. We're going to play phenomenal defense. We're going to have a whole bunch of different really good defensive guys. And in the fourth quarter, we might have a chance to win it. Like that team is like, shout out to Ime Udoka because that was not a good team even 2 years ago. It was a team that was actively trying to be bad, playing a lot of young guys, big minutes. And now they're a legitimate playoff team. Like I mean, the Detroit Pistons have been the story, but that's the West Coast. That's the Western Conference Detroit Pistons to me.
We'll get to maybe if we have time, we'll get to the Pistons. But certainly, if the Warriors can win tomorrow, it sets up an opportunity for them to take advantage of a young team in Houston, and that could set up Golden State and the Lakers in the Western Conference semifinals in the second round of the playoffs.
You see me cheesing, bro. Like
I'm all about it. That's the series I wanted to see in the first round. It would have been the most watched first round series in the history of NBA basketball. Brenden Whitted is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Thunder are legit. Is there a pitfall? Is there a if it's I don't know if Golden State screws up and loses tonight to Memphis or tomorrow to Memphis and then beats Dallas or Sacramento on Friday, is that a problem for OKC?
No, not really. Okay. There are very few things. Like anything that I'm going to say about OKC in terms of negativity is going to be like real nitpicky stuff. Like they foul too much. They have a tendency to do that. I am still a little concerned if SGA can't have these sorts of like consistently great games. Who the second guy is? I know J-Dub is a phenomenal player, and he's been really, really good. They have 3 all defensive level guys in Dort, Dub, and SGA. So like they are always going to have great defenders out there. It's not a coincidence that they're so good defensively. It's the fact that they consistently put out guys, particularly on the perimeter, that are scary good on that side of the ball. I think SGA was like top 5 in terms of defensive when he's the primary defensive player on a pick and roll. Like he's been that's why he's my MVP, right? Like that's okay. And that's to say nothing of Jokic. Jokic is top 3 in points, rebounds, steals, and assists. Nobody else has ever done that. Nobody else has been top 10 in all of those things. So if you want to go Jokic as your MVP, I get it. I think he's the best player in the league, but I just think SGA's had a better season.
Here's the just a personal thing about Nikola Jokic is that I somehow made it to the championship game of my son's NBA fantasy league that they dragged me into. And I played against the guy who had Nikola Jokic and single-handedly got beat by him because he is I mean, it's not even, you can't even explain the numbers that he puts up. It's everything. It's not just score. It's the whole thing.
That's a tough spot to be in, Gold, man. Like, because if you win, you're supposed to win. And if
nobody thought I'd win. I was just surprised.
Why would nobody think you would win?
Because I had I had a very late first round pick. My first round pick was Scotty Barnes. Yeah, I had like 16th. But 16. I wouldn't have to get into it. I gave myself executive of the year just for getting to the finals. Brenden Whitted is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, let me ask you about two series, and then we'll close up shop. And we'll stay in the West first. So the Nuggets, who are without their old head coach and with a new interim head coach, although from the same staff, so I'm not really sure what that proved, they've got the Clippers. Now, we all agree that Jokic is the best player on the, probably on the globe. But Kawhi isn't far behind him when he's right. And you talked about James Harden. How does that series play out? And does it impact whether or not you think Oklahoma City will at least make the Western Conference Finals?
No, I would probably pick OKC versus either one of those teams. That is the most intriguing matchup to me, though. Like, of all the first-round joints, it's amazing. That one. Those non-Jokic minutes have been eating the Nuggets up all season. And I just don't know if it can be that one-sided. I don't know if he can't sit for any amount of time without you either losing a lead or falling further behind. You know what I mean? Like, I still love Aaron Gordon. Jamal Murray started to pick it up. I just don't know if there's enough there when he's not on the court. And then sometimes it's just, even when he's playing well, it just doesn't feel like enough to lift everybody. And you see the numbers and those jump off the screen, but sometimes I just feel like it's too much on him.
Right.
Like it's kind of the same thing that I wonder about sometimes with OKC, except more exaggerated because those non-Jokic minutes really eat them up. I would probably pick the Clippers. I don't know what the odds are off the top of my head.
Neither do I.
But I would probably pick the Clippers because they've got it really rolling right now. All
right, now to the East, and this will be the only thing we're going to have time for to talk in the East. Knicks and the Pistons, to me, is the most intriguing of the first round series. I think the Pistons took 3 out of 4 from New York this year.
I think they got the slide on this one.
The Knicks can't beat the best teams. They had a hard time with the Celtics, the Cavaliers. Look, get in line. Look at the records. Everybody had a hard time with them. But the Knicks are the 3 seed, and they really couldn't deal with the best teams in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks are favored by a fair amount in this series.
That makes sense.
Why do I think the Pistons are going to beat them?
I think they're a more well-rounded team. The Knicks can flat out score. They can. How they defend, you don't know from night to night. Right. And that's the thing. Like I think the Pistons are a more balanced team, but I still like the Knicks partly because of the maturity factor. We all know when the playoffs come around, being just a team that's been around, being around players that have been and done that. Bridges has been to a final. Brunson and Cat, like they've all been to those big time spots. As a collective, Detroit really hasn't. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
Like Tobias Harris has gotten some wins and stuff, but like not to that sort of extent. And that's kind of why I lean on. Plus, Brunson's just so good late in games. Hopefully he's completely healed and fine. I just like them a little bit better. Like it's close though. I think it's going to be a really good series. It's a 6 or 7 game series for sure.
I mean, is Jalen Brunson the best player in this series, or is it Cade Cunningham?
Oh, I would take Cade before I took Brunson.
That's not the question.
That's not the question. No, it's not. Brunson's so good, man. Like, I don't know. Cade Cunningham's game is just so beautiful to watch, and the way he can orchestrate and lift that whole squad up, it's a lot of fun to watch. I don't want to discount that because Brunson had that injury and we just didn't see him for a while, and I don't want to do a recency bias thing because I've been watching Detroit. I'm like, man, this is a really good player here, and he finally kind of lived up to the expectations of his draft status. I still think right at this very moment, Brunson is a better player and will play better in this series. I think he'll play better in this series. Maybe that's not answering your question, but I think it's the most relevant part.
That was the question.
Yeah,
that
well,
was,
I mean,
it
when
was not who
player,
you would start. Like, in this series, who is the best player? And it's a little bit like this is what these guys are, but also looking at in this series, this is what these guys will be able to do.
It can also be Cat, right? Like that's
it can't be. It can't be Cat.
Man, I think he's caught some slander because he's not maybe this traditional big or whatever. He is incredibly offensively talented. Like otherworldly. Like, and so
he's super talented.
Over the course of a series, you're telling me Cat couldn't be the best player in the series?
He will not be the best player in this series.
I didn't say will he. I'm saying
he will be at best the next third best player in this series. Okay. Josh Hart.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Josh Hart could be the best player in this series.
I love Josh Hart. Josh Hart's not in this conversation, man. Like, I love Josh Hart. He's
for
my
me.
guy.
I've always loved Josh Hart.
He's
absolutely love him. But I think the Pistons are going to win this series in 6. I think the Pistons close it out in Detroit.
Now, if Cat starts lighting New York up, starts lighting Detroit up, the text messages and the tweets are going to fly.
And that's fine. I'll be okay with the Knicks win, but I think the Pistons are going to win. All right, give me who's coming up right now because we haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
Who wins the West?
Lakers.
Oh, who wins the East?
Boston. I'm still Boston. Cleveland has had a phenomenal
That
season.
would be something else, wouldn't it?
It would.
That would break the internet. That would break the internet. Brenden Whitted at HU Cosell on Twitter. Basketball Brain, my friend. I'll talk to you a lot next several weeks, man. Take care.
My phone's always on, man.
You got it. Brenden Whitted here on the Adam Gold Show. He's heard it. Lakers, Celtics. It would shatter the internet. The greatest NBA rivalry ever. No doubt about that. One of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. Boston versus LA. I mean, maybe. I don't know. But I'm not the basketball brain. That's what Brenden Whitted is for. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll stretch. We'll place bets. We might have NBA futures in there. And we might even have an NHL future in there. Next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the NBA play-in tournament is almost upon us, and FanDuel is giving all new customers a chance at $250 in bonus bets. Join today. Place your first $5 wager. If that wins, $250 of their money belongs to you. Three-pointers, steals, assists, whatever. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS for the NBA play-in tournament. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
One Adam.
Gold.
One Adam.
Gold.
If Andrei Svechnikov watched Eric Cole highlight tapes and cause chaos.
Hey, hashtag, you didn't even mean to do that, did you?
I didn't. Well, that's the old one.
I know, but
right?
It's still relevant.
Now we're raising up. Maybe we should go back to cause chaos.
I know, we need to go back to causing chaos.
It's interesting. I did kind of subconsciously bring that out.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. Before we stretch, haven't mentioned it, didn't even mention it Friday. It was starting to bubble to the surface. Tennessee's quarterback, Nico Iamaleava. No idea if I said it even close to correct. Couldn't come to a negotiation on his NIL compensation from the university or a collective, however it works. And both parties moved on. Think about that for a second. We've known for a long time that college sports is different today than it was even 3 years ago. Not necessarily the games we watch, that's the same. But the economic structure of the game is now 100% transactional. How much do I get to do this for you? So apparently he wanted more money than they were offering and did not show up for, I don't think it was the spring game, but he stopped showing up for practice. A holdout. A college holdout. We've seen it in the NFL. And this, of course, brought out all of the, how do I say this? Whack jobs that are mad at Nico Iamaleava. Then I saw her face. Now Iamaleava. I don't know. They absolutely held it against him. Why can't he go to the highest bidder? Why can't he just... Ryan Clark put out a great video about it. Robert Griffin III also put out a video about it. Unfortunately, Robert Griffin's video is 5 minutes of word salad that'll make you go, I'm not really sure what he was trying to say when the video is over. Ryan Clark said, the kid is right. Get your money. And the school is right. Because both entities in this case can be right. If the athlete wants to hold out for more money in this system, more power to him. If somebody tells him that we know that there is going to be more money for you out here, and you want to go get as much money as you can out of the system, I would never hold that against him, ever. The system has gotten a lot from the players. Let's remember, the SEC isn't doling out $80 million per school just in media rights, in media revenue, because everybody loves watching the uniforms of Alabama play the uniforms of Auburn. It's about the players wearing the uniforms. The players are the product. The players have long deserved something out of this system. So, but I also don't blame the school for saying, no, this is what we have. This is what we can pay you. Or we can have somebody else pay you. So we have an impasse. Tennessee has moved on. The quarterback has moved on. We don't know where he's going to end up. And it might end up being financially a terrible move for him because maybe nobody else wants to pay him what Tennessee was willing to pay him, and he simply got bad advice, in which case I feel bad for him. But it's his right to do what he did. I don't hold it against him. And it's Tennessee's right to say, look, this is what we have. This is what we were willing to pay for you. And if you don't want that, then, we'll find somebody else. That is life in the big city. But I don't hold it against him, and I don't hold it against the school at all. I do, however, hold it against the NCAA. Because what we have right now is litigation in waiting. So I tweeted out something again about this week, like this would all be solved by collective bargaining, but the NCAA doesn't get it, and therefore we're going to be in court again. And somebody tweets to me, unless the lobbying can convince Congress to give college sports an antitrust exemption. That is not happening. It won't happen. Pipe dreams. I'd be happy to be proved wrong. Pipe dreams. They've been asking for this for years. It ain't closer to happening now than it was then. Collective bargaining is your answer. That's your answer. Stretch time.
Okay, so this one will be quick. Tomorrow is tax day, people. So
What?
if you have not done it yet, which some poll was taken on Friday, I was not a part of this poll because I was getting ready for a wedding. Boo. They said that 2/3 of Americans have already filed. So for you stragglers out there, you have until tomorrow. And also in this poll, most people don't want taxes to go up more. So, like we needed to poll anyone for that. Don't forget.
I'm not saying a damn thing here. Not a damn thing.
Oh, there's so many things we could say. But it's due tomorrow, so get that squared away. Now, if that really stresses you out, what you should do is maybe live the life like Betty White, oh, God bless her soul, did. To live to be 99, she had some secrets. Do you know about some of these secrets that she said helped her to reach 99?
Alcohol every day.
It's very close to that. Chocolate cake, actually. Yep.
What?
She said she credits her longevity to a positive attitude and junk food. She loved vodka, so go you, Betty. She also loved hot dogs every day.
What?
And chocolate cake. So a former coworker of hers was on a Hallmark movie back in 2011, and she said that she saw Betty eat chocolate cake for breakfast like a, quote, real, true legend. Let's go.
She was the best, man. The absolute best.
I love Betty White so much.
Yeah,
so.
don't talk to me about Golden Girls. Talk to me about the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, yes.
Sue Ann Niven.
Oh,
the
yeah.
best.
Watched her on all that stuff.
The
so
best.
yeah, that's her secret. Vodka, chocolate cake, and hot dogs, apparently. So who knows? Maybe we'll come up with a secret to play some good bets, though.
Place your bets, place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right. All of the wagers I made on the Masters, I won one of them. Corey Connors got me a top 10. That was it. Go Canada.
Yeah?
Everything else fell apart.
Oh, no.
Everything else fell apart.
Oh,
so,
no. Well,
let's just move on.
Volkanovski, he ended up winning. I had him as an underdog, and Chase Hopper, he got it by decision. So that was only plus 185. But it's all on the ice for me today.
All right.
So the New York Rangers, who are so sad, out of the playoffs. They are in Florida.
So sad, isn't it?
It's so super sad.
You hate to see it.
I'm really, really heartbroken about that. They're in Florida taking on the Panthers. Give me the Panthers to win this one. And you know what? Just because I want to see it over 5.5 plus 195.
Sending the Rangers out of the playoffs officially was
the best.
Not a terrible thing at all that happened on Saturday. Canes played really well on Saturday.
That was one thing I was watching during the wedding.
Tomorrow. I know it's tomorrow, but we're going to do the first two games of the play-in tournament. Hawks will win in Orlando. Golden State will win at home against Memphis, plus 257.
Oh, nice. Well, looking towards the west, we've got the LA Kings. They're actually in Edmonton taking on the Oilers. Give me the at-home underdogs, Oilers to win just outright, plus 130.
Yeah, that'll tie them with LA for the second seed in the Pacific Division. Detroit will beat the Knicks in their first-round playoff series. Again, that doesn't start for a bit. But Detroit is plus 310. Let me give you a quick Premier League match today. Bournemouth and Fulham. That's got draw written all over it. Draw. Yes.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold for my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, with some friendly reminders for you. You could go for the green over water, or you could simply get the greatest mortgage free of charge, risk-free. You don't need a risk reward when it comes to Miller Lending. You never pay closing costs. You always keep thousands of your own dollars in your own account or your mattress or your left pocket. I don't know where you keep your money. They don't need it. You do. Home ownership is expensive, right? You have other things to deal with. Maybe a college fund. Maybe you want to take a vacation. Maybe you're buying a new car because you need a new car. Miller Lending wants you to keep more of your own money, so do it. Don't pay closing costs. Give yourself the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates come down. And the rates will come down because they kind of have to, especially in the economy we're heading into. So, Miller Lending. Don't pay closing costs. On Kildare Farm Road in Cary, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time.
Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's. If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers. Learn more at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the NBA play-in tournament is almost upon us, and FanDuel is giving all new customers a chance at $250 in bonus bets. Join today. Place your first $5 wager. If that wins, $250 of their money belongs to you. 3-pointers, steals, assists, whatever. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. It's FanDuel.com/AdamGold. It's the NBA's play-in tournament. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please. Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours. Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours. Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
And this ball lifted high in the air to left. And it is touch of all time for Carson Kelly. What a weapon he has been in the 9 spot to give the Cubs a 3-0 lead on his 3rd home run of the year. That ball is smoked off the bat of Kelly. Did he do it again? He did. Carson Kelly has left the building again. His 2nd of the night, a 2-run shot, 13-0, 4th of the year, and an incredible evening for Carson Kelly.
Yes!
Did you put that in?
No, but Rusty told me he did for me. Thanks, Rusty.
Have the Cubs still scored more runs than anybody in baseball?
Probably. Let's look at the Dodgers record and the Cubbies record now, since people like to make fun of them.
The Dodgers are 11-6.
And the Cubbies are 11-7.
Basically the same, and the Cubs lost to the Dodgers twice in Japan.
That 16-0 win, though. Woo! I did say, why can't we spread it out a little bit? Because,
116 runs scored for the Cubs. Nobody else is over 100.
No, let's go
Very
Cubs.
impressive.
Let's go Cubs.
Mets are 10-5. I should start paying attention.
You have no idea how much it hurt to be in Illinois this past weekend and did not go see a Cubs game.
Were they home or
no? But
well, there you go.
That's I don't know if they would have been. Woo!
Got
some food poisoning.
That happens. All right, let's. What do we do here? Wall of sound? Yeah, I don't.
The wall
I
of
totally
sound
forgot
is
what we
a
do here.
function of this studio. There's no doubt.
You want some of my Celsius? Man,
They're great, aren't
I'm
they?
gonna start flying in a minute.
Have you tried the cherry cola?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, dangerous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the guy who's, like, looking through the whole case.
Yeah.
Like, there's a handful of flavors that I like, but that's really good.
Yeah.
I'm the guy looking through the case for the cherry cola.
See, I don't blame you. I don't know the flavors because I'm new to Celsius, but Harris Teeter had a sale, so I got all the flavors. So we'll figure out what my favorite is once I get through them.
All right, let's do this. In the wall of sound, let's start with the Carolina Hurricanes, shall we? All right. This comes from yesterday. And the story of the game, why Carolina did not win. A dominant first period, but trailing by a goal. Here's the head coach.
Maybe one of our better, starts. I liked how we played the whole period till the last 20 seconds, and we had a couple, two other mishaps that led to 2-on-1s in that period. So not perfect, but yeah, I think that took a little bit out of the boys when played pretty solid. And then second wasn't very good, but it wasn't terrible. It's just we never really generated anything, and then we were down again. So tough to come back.
Yeah, look, they should have been ahead. And then they weren't. And I think that, first of all, Toronto played great in the second period, so I want to give them credit. It's not like Toronto's bad. I mean, they're winning the Atlantic Division, which is the better of the two divisions. So give the Maple Leafs some credit, who are playing a different way under Craig Berube than they have at any point under other coaches. Jordan Stahl agrees with his head coach.
Obviously, it was a great first, and we were playing what we wanted to play, and I think after that we kind of just expected that to keep going, and we kind of got a little complacent, and they obviously started playing a little better in the second, and I made their push, and then we had two quick ones and we're down and chasing the game, and my line gave up a bad one in the third to get any momentum, and now down 3 in the third stuff.
Yeah, look, again, I think it's deflating, and then you give up the early goal in the third period. But honestly, I thought the game was, when you do that in the first period, you don't get anything out of it. And then the other team pushes back and plays a good period, and now you're down 2-0. And I just think that this stage of the game, it's just not that alarming to see everybody kind of just, on to the next. On to the next. Everybody's thinking about the playoffs at this point. Speaking of the last two games of the regular season, Wednesday and Thursday, Carolina will be in Montreal and then Ottawa. I think that we're going to see a lot of players not play. Now, Carolina's not going to have a completely skeleton roster. You're not bringing up the entire roster of the Chicago Wolves, but Rod was asked after the game if he anticipated a lot of new faces.
It just depends. I mean, we got some nicked up guys, to be quite honest. So we'll see how many, make it through here, and then you make that determination, and, we'll figure it all out. But yeah, that's where we'll get them from if we need them.
I would love to see Jacob Slavin rest. Look, the chances of Carolina having Alexander Nikishin get a U.S. visa and then a Canadian visa to work, to play, I mean, it's almost almost non-existent. So it would be great if Nikishin was here and he could play, but I don't think that's going to be the case. You'll see Scott Morrow play. I think you'll see another, maybe one or two defensemen from the minor leagues come up and play. And I think it will be a very weird-looking roster for Carolina in those. Now, you also have to weigh into what will the salary cap allow, and the Hurricanes do not have a lot of room under the cap. So it might be who are the guys who are here and mixing and matching that way. But I would be surprised if we saw Slavin, Aho, Jarvis really in any of the games. Either of the games. There's only two of them. All right, to the Masters. Rory McIlroy, for 11 years, has been trying to win the career Grand Slam at Augusta. It was 2011, so 14 years since he blew a 4-shot final round lead at Augusta National. Even had the lead going to the back nine and completely fell apart. Ended up shooting 80 for the day. That is not befitting of a guy leading the Masters. And he has been carrying around the burden of trying to and failing to win a major championship for about a decade. Now he's got that off of his shoulders.
I've carried that burden since August 2014. It's been 11 years. It's nearly 11 years. I'm not just about winning my next major, but the career Grand Slam, trying to join a group of 5 players to do it. Watching a lot of my peers get green jackets in the process. It's been difficult, and I've tried to approach this tournament with the most positive attitude each and every time that I've shown up, and I think just the sort of cumulative experience that I've gained coming back here each and every year, I feel like I get a little more comfortable with the shots needed. I talked about it at the start of the week, but there's talking about it and actually doing it, and today was difficult. I was unbelievably nervous this morning. It was a heavy weight to carry, and thankfully now I don't have to carry it, and it frees me up, and I know I'm coming back here every year, which is lovely.
Yeah, you'd probably be back just about every year. Anyway, all right, so what does it mean now for Rory?
It's a dream come true. I've dreamt about that moment for as long as I can remember. I mentioned it out in the prize ceremony, but watching Tiger here in 1997 do what he did and winning his first green jacket, I think that inspired so many of my generation to want to emulate what he did. And there were points in my career where I didn't know if I would have this nice garment over my shoulders, but I didn't make it easy today. I certainly didn't make it easy. I was nervous. It was one of the toughest days I've ever had on the golf course. In a funny way, I feel like the double bogey at the first sort of settled my nerves. And it's funny, walking to the second tee, the first thing that popped into my head was John Rahm a couple of years ago making double and going on to win. So, at least my mind was in the right place and was at least thinking positively about it.
My son has a golf match today for his school. I told him, go out and make as many double bogeys as you can.
Yes. Why not?
It's the best advice you can give a kid.
Yeah.
Don't make doubles. Double the first. Go get him, Tiger. Or Rory. I don't know. All right, Andy North, ESPN's golf analyst. By the way, himself, a 2-time U.S. Open champion. We will talk to another, Curtis Strange, in just a few minutes. How does this change things for McIlroy?
Will the game look at him differently? I'm not sure. He's been such an amazing player for this last generation. He's won so many championships. He's been the face of the tour for so many years. But I think he looks at himself differently. I think that's the big thing. He now appreciates everything he's worked hard for. Mm-hmm. And now he's he's always going to be a Hall of Famer. But now what he's accomplished in the Grand Slam is absolutely amazing.
All right, I want to just dig into that just for a second. He was already going in the Hall of Fame. You win 4 major championships, you are a Hall of Famer. But there are levels to this. And you can't see, there are 6 players who have ever won all 4 majors. The first one was Gene Sarazen, and everybody talks about it, and we're not going to get into it. But the Masters wasn't really a major when Gene Sarazen won it. It was year 2 of the Masters, and it was more like a party. Only in retrospect do we go, oh, look, Gene Sarazen won the Masters. So, regardless, Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy. When the Masters was the Masters, yeah, those are the 5. I mean, that is a different level of Hall of Famer. It puts him above everybody. He's the greatest European golfer ever. He just is one of those guys now. A completely different planet. And I've said this, but here's Andy North saying it. He ain't done.
I think there's a really great chance that he wins multiple more major championships and maybe another time here. I think it's going to free him up. He doesn't have any demons to deal with. Just go out and play golf. And we've talked for years. When he's at his best, he's as good as anybody we've seen.
Yep. His best better than everybody else's best right now. His best. Bryson's best. Scotty Scheffler's best. Xander Schauffele's best. Everybody's best isn't as good as Rory's best. It's all about how often can you unlock that. You don't really ever have your best all the time. But he said it after the Players' Championship this year that he won a major event without his best stuff. And I remember watching the coverage on Golf Channel, they were critical of Rory. He can't win playing like this. He did. He won playing like that. And he obviously didn't have his best stuff at the Masters. He had a lot of his good stuff, but he didn't have it for all 72 holes. And you rarely do. I'm looking forward to Quail Hollow in about a month. PGA Championship. He's only won 4 out of 13 trips to Quail Hollow. That's it. Just 4 out of 13. Side of his first PGA Tour win. Quail Hollow in Charlotte. All right, when we come back, 2-time U.S. Open champion Curtis Strange on Has He Ever Been That Nervous? Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The NFL draft is almost here, and for the Panthers, it's about one thing: reacting. The first 7 picks in the NFL draft, absolutely insane. And here's the thing: the 9th pick with the Saints seems like they want Shedeur Sanders, which means everyone that wants a quarterback is going to be calling Dan Morgan. He has to be ready to react.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
So you're looking for a fun night out, a cool hang to watch the game, maybe even a date night. Adam Gold here, and you need to check out X Golf in Cary, McGregor Village, off of US 64. X Golf has the best simulator play you've ever experienced, over 60 world-renowned courses to choose from, a top-shelf bar, great food, an amazing environment to just have a great evening out of the house. And you don't need a reason to have a good time, right? PlayXGolf.com/Cary. PlayXGolf.com/Cary.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1 to 3.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry, here to share why Bailey's is consistently voted best place to buy your diamond. First off, our amazing selection of diamonds is unparalleled. We also have hundreds of the most coveted engagement ring styles to fit any budget. You can also utilize our vast selection of loose diamond inventory and custom workshop to create your dream ring. And if that's not enough, we also offer an unprecedented lifetime diamond guarantee. I invite you to come see for yourself. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
What up, fellow Gen Xers? Elizabeth Banks here. As the original Latchkey kids, we took things into our own hands, like house keys and video game controllers. And now it's time for us to do it again, because the recommended age to get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. We're at over 6 times greater risk compared to adults under 50. So go to vaxassist.com and schedule. Gen X, this is our shot. Sponsored by Pfizer.
One Adam. Gold. One Adam. Gold.
If Andrei Svechnikov watched Eric Cole highlight tapes and caused chaos.
Hey, hashtag, you didn't even mean to do that, did you?
I didn't. Well, that's the old one.
I know, but
right?
It's still relevant.
Now we're raising up. Maybe we should go back to cause
I know, we
chaos.
need to go back to causing chaos.
It's interesting. I did kind of subconsciously bring that out.
The Adam Gold Show.
I was thinking about how do we put into context what we saw yesterday, the nerves that must have been going through Rory McIlroy. And I thought, I know a 2-time U.S. Open champion. Although maybe Curtis Strange has never been that nervous before. Curtis Strange, have you ever been that obviously nervous in a major championship or any time else?
That I never settled down in a round was the playoff with Faldo in '88 in the U.S. Open. But I think the first time, but I was okay then. The first time I didn't handle it well, kind of much like a little bit yesterday was in '85 when I had a chance to win the Masters on the last 9 holes. It's a different stage. It's extremely fast greens, which is troublesome really because of the speed and your nerves. And then, it's hard. And then you lose a little confidence and you lose your lead, and it seems to snowball a little bit. Other players are like piranhas. They sense that and they gain energy from that. And it seemed like that was going on yesterday, but more so than anybody else, it was Rory that looked like it was affecting. And I don't know why, because he's been there so many times, and I know it's the Grand Slam, and that's beyond big. But I was just a little surprised at some of the shots. I was driving and listening to it the whole way, so I couldn't see everything. But it was some uncharacteristic shots from Rory McIlroy, but he won, and that's all that matters.
Curtis Strange is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. What were the nerves like? I'm just trying to get a personal sense from you. What were the nerves like on the 18th tee in the Ryder Cup in '95? You were playing Faldo then. I think it was
it's a different animal. It's a different animal completely. Ryder Cup is nerves, yes, very much so, but it's a different altogether. It's team, it's country, it's head-to-head against a particular player. It's when you're looking at the Masters or one of the 4 majors, it's kind of what you've been training for your whole life to have this opportunity, and you just don't get that many of them, and you want to do well, and you might get beat, but you want to do well, you want to play well, and I think yesterday the difference was, if Roy would not have won, if Justin Rose would have won, this would have been possibly the toughest defeat he ever had, because he hit some very uncharacteristic shots. He didn't perform like we expected Roy to perform at times. Other times he played spectacular golf yesterday. I mean, the shot at 17, he hit some great shots, 15. But then he hit the short wedge at 13 and a couple of the others. But anyway, the bottom line is he won, and we forget all that in a hurry.
It is really remarkable, because there are so many ways to look at it. You could look at it as he got lucky that it wasn't somebody closer to the lead that shot a 66. I mean, if that had been Corey Connors there's no Rory McIlroy winning the Masters. It had that been Bryson DeChambeau, right? So there's a lot of ways to look at
happens. Well, I think the one way I continue to look at it, he won. Rory won, but he's going to look back on what happened on some of the shots, why that happened. Was it nerves? I mean, the first hole making double bogey. That's just who, I said yesterday morning on SportsCenter, who blinks first?
Right.
Well, Rory blinked first. And then, but he came back at 3 or 4. DeChambeau didn't have anything near his best stuff. And I think if somebody was fortunate, it was Rory that he didn't, that
right.
DeChambeau didn't have his good stuff to really, he was the guy that potentially could make a lot of birdies out there yesterday and shoot a good score, and he didn't. So in a way, Rory was fortunate in that.
Curtis Strange is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. The roller coaster ride. See, the other way to look at it is that, Rory has been, and he keeps using the word resilient over the last several years about how he has bounced back from the disappointment of 22 at St. Andrews, 4-shot lead. I guess he and Victor Hovland were 4 shots ahead of the field entering the final round. Or 23 when he probably should have won the Open. All respect to Wyndham Clark. Rory was in great position there. Last year, of course, at Pinehurst, having a 2-shot lead on the 70th green and it all falling apart. But maybe yesterday was all of that in microcosm, where he bounces back from the worst wedge you've ever seen on 13, and then a bogey on 14 with one of the greatest shots we've ever seen. On 15, hooking it around the trees from 200 some odd yards.
Well, that's what champions do. We all have but we better have short memories. Forget about what we just did. Roy is an incredibly talented man. He's proven that over the years. For our listeners, he's won 48 professional tournaments in the world on the DP Tour, the European Tour, the American Tour, and around Asia. So, he's a pretty good player. And he just had this stretch of not winning majors but coming close. But let's not forget he was there so many times. I like to put a positive spin on it that, okay, he hasn't won in quite a while a major, but he's been there so many times. And it's each circumstance is different. Sometimes you don't play well. Sometimes you don't putt well. Sometimes you just get beat.
Right.
And you play well, and there's nothing you can do about it. If DeChambeau goes out and shoots 65 yesterday, Rory shoots 68, he loses. So that's a case where I just got beat. And I think that's certainly more, you can digest that easier than if you didn't play well. You always want to, when you win, you want to play well because that's the optimum feeling after the round. But, Roy will go back and think about it, and maybe this is what he needed. Maybe he needed a break like this to go on and really, really win some more majors.
I mean, he certainly can.
Everybody watched it yesterday. He is resilient because he missed some shots, but he came back with great ones. That's what they do.
I mean, the shot he hit after missing the short putt on 18, which would have won it, to come back and hit those 2 shots. The driver, he hit driver gap wedge on that hole twice. On the 18th hole at Augusta, driver gap wedge. I mean, can you fathom that as somebody who has played that hole? Even they've added so much length, but that's an incredible thing. Didn't Greg Norman in '86? I think hit driver 5-iron or something to that hole.
That's what we used to hit in there. Anywhere from 5-iron to, I played with Larry Mize in the last round when he won there. We hit 9-irons in there, but it was a firm year. Everything's a little different, but it's an incredibly long hole now. I think Justin Rose hit 6 or 7-iron up the hill, and he's not short. So anyway, I commend Justin Rose. He played a good round. He played a great round. Second round is when he kind of fell behind a little bit, but there's not a nicer person on the tour and a better representative of your game and your tour than Justin Rose. This is 3 times he's been runner-up, so certainly disappointing, but he knows that he got a bit of a break too when Rory didn't play as well as we expected Rory to play.
Curtis Strange is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Why do you think that it was so universally loved that Rory won? I've never heard other than at a college press conference to announce a new coach. Like that when they announced Bill Belichick as Carolina's coach, there was a standing ovation in the media center at the unveiling, if you will. When Rory walked into the press room after winning the tournament, I mean, it was like a standing ovation in the press room. Why do you think he was that universally loved here?
Well, he's a good guy and a great player. And this was for the Slam, and he's been trying to do it for 11 years. And, you know, to go back 2 or 3 years, he became the voice of the tour with all of this chaotic mess of the tour, and it's all about money now. And I'm so frustrated I will pull my hair out with the tour. And the tour's been my life. But LIV and Greg Norman and Phil Mickelson, who I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
You know, disruptive. Roy stood up and became the voice of the tour to the detriment of his game too. He's admitted I thought it was the case. He's honest to a fault. He does and says all the right things. He hits the home run. He's exciting to watch. He was the boy wonder years ago, winning 4 majors in a short period of time. He's just a good guy. Everybody, the camera likes Rory McIlroy. People like Rory McIlroy. Now, let's not forget, they loved DeChambeau going to the first tee yesterday too, because he's been a people person. So it was a good thing. But once Roy looked like he got control after the double on the first hole, the people really do gravitate back over to Rory, and it's exciting. And you know, Augusta National is excited for him. They don't root for one or the other, but for them, for their tournament to complete the Grand Slam with Rory McIlroy it's huge for them. They're all excited about it, and it's good for golf. Rory McIlroy and the Masters and golf are on the front page of every website, paper, magazine in the world today, and that's a good thing for our sport.
All right, final thing for Curtis Strange, 2-time U.S. Open champion with ESPN, was down there at Augusta. So you alluded to maybe he can go, you know, and win more majors. I have said for a while if he can win one more, he might just rip off a bunch. We could have a second act, the like of in tennis Andre Agassi, or maybe once Phil Mickelson in his 30s won his first major, he won a bunch in a short period of time.
Right.
Could we look at that? Because Rory's toolbox is probably better than anybody else's on tour.
It all depends on Rory. Does he have a bit of a letdown? You know, our next major is in 3 weeks at Charlotte.
Yep.
So and he loves the place. He's won there a couple of times. So it all is in Rory's hands. Does he continue to work as hard as he works? Does he keep the motivation? I think he does. And how long, you know, do you have a letdown? You know, enjoy the success of the Grand Slam here for a while, or do you get right back to work? That's the question we can't answer. But I suspect when he gets back to work and before the PGA, you know, I suspect we're all the same. When you get on the golf course, you compete. And you compete at the highest level. Will he be sharp? I suspect he'll be sharp. Will he win? Who the hell knows? But I think that this could be something that kind of relaxed him. The big elephant is gone now with the Grand Slam. He can possibly relax a little bit and play Rory McIlroy golf.
That's pretty good golf, by the way. Curtis Strange golf was also pretty doggone good, and I appreciate your time, sir. Enjoy a couple of weeks of R&R, and we'll see you back here for Big Rock coming up soon.
We will. That's the second major of the year. I should correct myself.
Hey, thank you very much, Curtis. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
So, real quick, I was talking to my 16-year-old today. He's the one who has his golf match where I told him, go out and make yourself a double bogey.
Right.
Because that leads to wins. And he says, you're talking to Curtis Strange today. So he watches a lot of old clips and whatnot, so he knows who Curtis Strange is. And I'm like, yeah. So how do you know him? What we just brought up last, Big Rock, is how I got to know Curtis. because he lives in Morehead City half the year. He used to live there full time, and now he spends half the year in Naples, Florida, and half the year in Morehead City. And the first time I ever talked to Curtis, they were like, the Big Rock contacted us, said, "Do you want to talk to Curtis Strange?" And I'm like, wait a second. It's a fishing tournament. Sure. So I was unfamiliar with Big Rocks. I've been talking to him for a long time. He's a great dude. But yes, Big Rock is coming up early June. See if there's any controversy.
I know.
Michael Jordan's got a boat in Big Rock.
That's true.
Every year.
He does.
He is all about it.
Mm-hmm.
He is all about it.
Maybe this is his year. Who knows?
Well, it took him, year 8 to win an NBA title? Was it year 8?
Yeah.
Before he won his first NBA title?
Just got to warm up to it.
Maybe it takes time.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of time, we will rewind time. So it's been a very good run for Triangle schools coming out of the transfer portal. NC State has been busy. We'll do that, and we'll talk more about, let's see, we've got Kane stuff we have to get to, and again, more from the transfer portal next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Are you living your
best life? Do you know AARP North Carolina is working to make communities great for all ages, help workers find easier ways to save, improve healthcare quality and access, and to protect important programs like Social Security and Medicare? Learn more about all that AARP is doing to help people of all ages by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Before we get to the rewind, and we'll dip into the expertise of Brian Geisinger, who joined us earlier on a couple of NC State prospects coming out of the transfer portal. A little bit on the Carolina Hurricanes, who closed out their home schedule yesterday with a 4-1 loss to Toronto. Some people are alarmed after every Hurricanes game. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. I choose not to be. Certainly it would be better had Carolina played better, even scratched some games into overtime even when they weren't playing well, and maybe just picked up a couple of more points. Like, how many times this year do you think, man, the Canes could have dragged that one into overtime? And they could have. Heck, there was a game in Tampa where Andrei Vasilevsky and Pyotr Kochetkov, it was like, who could top the other? And then, with less than a minute left, Brayden Point scored a goal that he probably shouldn't have scored. A lot of mistakes, not just Kochetkov. I mean, it was a goal he probably should have stopped. But there were mistakes before he had the opportunity to make that save that he didn't make. But if you grab a point there, you turn a shootout loss into an overtime win here. And the Hurricanes have lost 3 games in shootouts this year. They were 5-2 in the overtime session, 0-3 in shootouts. If you pick up 2 more points, so that's the smallest ask ever. You pick up just 2 more points, you're now in much better shape to finish ahead in the conference of Florida. Actually, you'd be guaranteed to be ahead of Florida at this point. Because I think Florida's on, I want to get this right. Florida's on, it wouldn't be guaranteed, but pretty close. Florida's at 98 points. Tampa Bay's at 100. Carolina's at 99. And so I get it. Every game does matter. You stack points. You accumulate points. Probably no excuse to lose to Buffalo twice this year. Carolina lost 2 games to Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, that's what they did. They did throw away some games that you think, well, they should have won that, and they don't. Anaheim here is a game you lost in overtime that probably should have been 2 points, but it wasn't. That was poor goaltending, and I recall in that game. Either way. So the Hurricanes closed out the home schedule. Like, there are people like, we're never going to be this, we're never going to be that. So a little reality check. The roster is good. It's not great. If you compared Carolina's forward group, their defense core, their goaltending to Tampa, I think we'd all agree Tampa's got the better team. Certainly among the forwards, certainly in goal. I think if you did that with Florida, you'd probably say the same thing. Maybe Carolina has a slight edge on defense, but it's probably negligible. Same thing with Tampa, by the way. Maybe, Carolina's slightly better, but close enough. Toronto. I think Toronto's probably got a better set of forwards, and Carolina might be a little bit better on defense. And I think that's somewhat noticeable. Goaltending might be somewhat of a wash, only because Toronto's goaltending is very unproven in the postseason. But their forwards, I think, are significantly better than Carolina's forwards. So you give them a little bit of an edge in terms of the roster. Heck, we look at Ottawa and you go, whoa, it's a good team. With some really good young defensemen, too. And getting good goaltending from Linus Ullmark. I think Carolina's probably still better, but just in terms of staring at the rosters, maybe even Ottawa has a slightly better roster than Carolina. And I'm not knocking Carolina. Carolina's good. I'm just illustrating the point that there are a lot of good teams. And Toronto played well last night. After the first period, Toronto was really good. And Carolina wasn't as good, which to me had a lot to do with Toronto, as much as anything else. So we're closing down. Let me just throw one more thing at you that I get questions all the time on Twitter, at @AGoldFan if you're interested. And I got this. Why couldn't they make Brent Burns a forward for the playoffs and put Alexander Nikishin in the lineup? And I just went, wait a second. He's not a forward. Just because he played forward for a couple of years when he first got to the NHL doesn't mean he was a good one. And what you're saying is Brent Burns, who hasn't played forward in, 16 years, is better than any of the 14 forwards they've got now. Do people should proofread.
Yeah, I think people really like those Connecticut commercials.
Right, exactly. Trent.
Right.
Trent from Connecticut
right.
will be your starting left wing tonight.
Yeah.
People, before you hit send, ask yourself this question. Is this going to make me sound like a dope? If the answer is even maybe, don't send it. Just don't. Because that makes you sound like a dope. And I don't want to call you a dope. And I'm not effectively calling you a dope. I'm just saying that makes you sound like one. And then the assumption is, well, Nikishin's here. Put him right in the lineup. I got this. Coaching malpractice if they don't. I'm like, what's wrong with you? We have not seen him play in the NHL for a second. You can't put him in the game.
Yeah, no.
You can't put him in a playoff game. Oh, but they did that with Cale Makar. A, yes, they did. B, they clearly could. And C, he is the best player at that position maybe ever. Ever. We have seen nothing like that guy.
No, you can't go pick up a Cale Makar on the street.
If Alexander Nikishin were Cale Makar, I would be advocating for taking everybody out of the lineup to make sure that he could play. Yeah. But he is not Cale Makar. He can be a top-flight defenseman in this league, but he hasn't played a second yet. Chill out. My opinion, Nikishin only plays in case of an injury or if somebody is playing so poorly that Rod Brindamore says, well, this kid can't be any worse than that.
Might as well.
So, and I'm not saying that won't happen. Certainly, there have been some Carolina Hurricanes defenders who have played some poor games. And they've generally been kind of concentrated in a small, to a small number of games. But we've gone on a run where, and we've seen it, Brent Burns or Dmitry Orlov really plays poorly. By the way, like 4 out of the last 6 games, you know who falls into that category? Jacob Slavin?
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Mm-mm.
I don't blame him. I think Slavin needs a rest. I don't think Jacob Slavin should get on the plane to go to Canada.
Yeah.
I said this on the podcast last night. Canes Corner podcast available wherever you get your podcast. I think what the Hurricanes should do is, hey, Jacob, we're going to send Jalen Chatfield's going to come pick you up on the way to the airport. And then you tell Jalen, don't go get him.
No.
Leave him here.
Go to Dave and Buster's.
Right. No, just you just drive directly to the airport.
Right.
Leave Jacob at home in his driveway with his suitcase.
Yeah. Yeah.
They said they were coming to get me.
Right? Leave a pizza.
Jacob should not be playing in either of these two games.
No.
In Montreal and Ottawa. Like, let's be serious. Calm down.
Mm-hmm. I know some people are talking about Nikishin like he doesn't know English yet either, so that
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't matter.
This is the YouTube stream.
The voice of hockey.
Yeah.
The universal language of hockey.
Puck in net.
Right. So here's the thing about where they are. So somebody yesterday, before we get to a quick rewind, somebody said yesterday to me, in the chat before I started the podcast, yeah, the Canes are going to go loose to the Devils now. Watch. Mike, I don't know why anybody would assume that the Hurricanes, even playing well, couldn't lose to the Devils. Devils are good.
Yeah.
I don't care what their point total is. The Devils are legitimately good. Hurricanes could be playing well and lose to the Devils. Doesn't matter. That team is really good. Their goaltending is in sort of similar spot as Carolina's. Jacob Markstrom hasn't been really good since he came back from injury. They're relying on an older guy, Jake Allen. I don't know how it's going to play out. But I think top to bottom, they have a really good roster. Every bit as good as Carolina's, maybe even a little bit better on paper. We'll see what happens when they actually play. I think Carolina will be a slight favorite in the series. I think they're a significant betting favorite in the series. But I don't see this as being any more than 55-45 in Carolina's way. Maybe not even that high in terms of percentage chance of winning. Carolina could play well and lose the series, flat out. So, as I said on the podcast last night, don't pretend that New Jersey is incapable, because they are capable. I think Carolina can go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think if that would be remarkable for me, but I think they can go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they can beat New Jersey. I think they can beat Washington or Montreal. But they could lose to anybody too. So I would not be of the, we're going to beat the Devils. I wouldn't be that guy, because I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that this is going to be a piece of cake. All right, rewind time. Brian Geisinger, basketball brain. Split the action on Substack, by the way. Total breakdown of all things transfer portal. Let's start with point guard Trey Holloway, who entered the portal in East Lansing, Michigan, after having played for Tom Izzo, and steps out of the portal in Raleigh, getting ready to play for Will Wade. Will he be a day one starter here?
Yeah, a lot of experience. I mean, already over 100 career games, a lot of playing time in a good program and in a good conference in the Big Ten. And, it was sort of, I think kind of interestingly this season at Michigan State, part of like a really talented kind of collective backcourt with Jeremy Fears, Jaden Akins, and then obviously Jace Richardson, who's projected to be a lottery pick in the draft here. So I think Richardson was certainly the biggest driver of scoring offense in the backcourt, and after that was probably Fears. But Allman fit nicely in, and I think right now on paper State is set up to have a lot of other talented backcourt, talented guards in the backcourt. So having a guy like Holloman that gives you some shooting, gives you some pull-up shooting, can run a pick and roll, lots of paint assists, and sort of like working within a collective is a really nice pickup. So it's been a busy offseason, obviously, for the Pack, and Holloman, I think, is I would sort of like stop short of I wouldn't say like a future star for the Pack, but certainly like at the least a rotation piece and likely a starter and a guy that plays a lot of big leverage minutes for them next season.
All right. Awesome to get somebody like that out of the transfer portal for NC State. All right, now I want to find out from Brian how Paul McNeil, who announced that he was coming back, how does he fit into the whole mix? You got two other guys coming from McNeese State to join the Wolfpack, their former coach, Will Wade. How does Paul McNeil fit into this entire situation?
I think he's going to be one of many, just because if you watching McNeese, like it sort of was a collection of guys that really kind of shared the ball from like a playmaking standpoint. But of course, if you go back to Will Wade at LSU, you're seeing teams with Javonte Smart and Cam Thomas where they were maybe not quite heliocentric, but a little bit more on the ball. I think a guy like McNeil kind of fits in different ways. One, because he's such a talent, so there is this like upside component. But a lot of the guys we just talked about, Copeland, Breed, Holloman, these are guys that I think can play on and off the ball too. But just when I close my eyes and think about how they play, a lot of it is them on the ball. And so to have a guy like McNeil that can run around screens, that can spot up and relocate, like you need some shooting to kind of make all of this actually kind of like meld together. And McNeil's a guy with big time range. I wrote a big piece, published it over the weekend at my Substack page on McNeil.
Yep.
There's a lot of intriguing stuff, like sneaky good offensive rebounder, pretty good connective passer, and one of those guys where you can't draw too many conclusions because he played basically 200 minutes this past season, so not much, but just he was a real impact, like from an on-off plus-minus standpoint, with not only with State's overall point differential, but in terms of how much better guys, pretty much everyone outside of Jaden Taylor was more efficient offensively with McNeil on the court. Again, with small samples here, so you can't put too much into it, but I think that does speak to the connective playmaking and the shooting that McNeil brings. And I'm just hoping with a larger runway to work with and a little bit more confidence that McNeil's the guy that could maybe go up a level or two for State next season.
I know this. I think we're going to have three pretty good basketball teams to follow right here in the 919. I'm sure Duke will be fine. We still have not heard anything about players staying, leaving, coming, whatever. Carolina and State are going to be good. Maybe this will be the center of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Who knows? All right, we're out of here. A little less conversation from us the rest of today. Victoria, thank you very much. Welcome back from Chicago. See everybody tomorrow.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the NBA's play-in tournament is here. It starts tomorrow. I actually wish